The Galactic Academy's orientation hall buzzed with a cacophony of alien languages, each species clustering nervously with their own kind. Lena sat alone near the back, her small frame dwarfed by the massive seats designed to accommodate the galaxy's diverse inhabitants. She swung her legs idly, her feet barely touching the floor, watching as creatures with scales, feathers, and chitinous armor filed in. The Academy had been humanity's greatest achievement, or greatest gamble, depending on who you asked. After first contact 3 years ago, Earth had fought tooth and nail for a seat at the galactic table. The other species had been skeptical. Humans were classified as a Class 7 Deathworlder species, hailing from a planet so hostile that most galactic citizens required environmental suits just to survive its atmosphere. But humans were also paradoxically fragile compared to most spacefaring races. Lena didn't feel particularly dangerous. She was just a 16-year-old girl who liked xenobiology and had scored high enough on the entrance exams to earn one of Earth's 3 coveted spots at the Academy. A shadow fell across her desk. She looked up to find herself staring into 3 amber eyes set in a furred face that was all sharp angles and predatory grace. The creature stood nearly 7 feet tall, with digitigrade legs and arms that ended in retractable claws. Its species, the Vraken, were apex predators from a world where everything hunted and everything was hunted. "Is seat taken?" the young Vraken asked in halting galactic common, his voice a deep rumble that made Lena's ribcage vibrate. "No, it's free," Lena said, smiling up at him. The teacher, a floating gaseous being named Instructor Zephyros, suddenly went from a calm blue to a sharp, alarmed yellow. Several students gasped. The Vraken cub, who couldn't have been more than the equivalent of a teenager himself, settled into the seat beside Lena with careful precision, his tail curling around the chair's base. "I am Makar," he said, extending one massive paw, from Vraka Prime. "Lena, from Earth." She shook his paw without hesitation, her small hand disappearing into his grip. His fur was surprisingly soft, like a wolf's. Instructor Zephyros drifted closer, his gaseous form pulsing with anxious orange hues. "A young human," he said carefully. "Perhaps you would be more comfortable in another seat. We have spaces near the Quilarian delegation. They are herbivorous and quite gentle." "I'm comfortable here." "Thank you," Lena said politely. The instructor's color shifted to a worried purple, but he nodded and drifted away, though he kept glancing back nervously throughout his welcome address. Makar leaned toward Lena, his voice low. "Did I do something wrong?" "The teacher seems distressed." Lena suppressed a laugh. "No, you're fine. It's just, well, the Vraken have a certain reputation. You're classified as one of the galaxy's most efficient predator species, and humans are supposedly weak." Makar's ears flattened in what Lena was learning to recognize as confusion. "But you do not smell of fear. Every other species here. I can taste their anxiety in the air. You smell like curiosity and something else, something I cannot identify." "Probably adrenaline," Lena said cheerfully. "We produce a lot of it." Over the following weeks, an unlikely friendship bloomed. Makar and Lena were paired for xenobiology lab, much to Instructor Zephyros's continued dismay. The teacher had tried to intervene multiple times, but Academy policy strictly forbade species discrimination, and neither student had filed a complaint. What puzzled everyone was how naturally they worked together. Makar's predatory instincts made him exceptional at tracking and pattern recognition, while Lena's human persistence and problem-solving abilities complemented his skills perfectly. They aced every assignment, but it was during the survival training exercise that everything changed. The simulation was meant to be challenging, a hostile environment where teams had to work together to reach an extraction point. Lena and Makar's team included a Quilarian, a timid herbivore, 2 insectoid Chitauri, and a crystalline Lumerian. 15 minutes into the exercise, the simulation glitched. What should have been a moderate challenge became lethal as the system's safety protocols failed. Real heat flooded the chamber. Real predatory drones meant to be mildly threatening became actively hostile. Panic erupted. The Quilarian froze. The Chitauri tried to burrow into the artificial ground. The Lumerian's crystalline structure began to crack under the thermal stress. Makar's instinct screamed at him to run, to hunt, to survive. He was a predator, but predators on Vraka Prime were solitary. Every being for themselves. Then he heard Lena's voice, sharp and commanding. Makar, help me with the Lumerian. We need to cool her down. Quilarian, stop freezing and help the Chitauri dig. We move together or we die together. Something in her tone bypassed every instinct Makar had. She wasn't asking. She wasn't begging. She was ordering, with the absolute certainty that she would be obeyed. More shocking, she was running toward the danger, not away from it. Humans, Makar realized, were pack hunters. For the next 20 minutes, Lena coordinated their survival with a ferocity that made Makar's predatory nature look tame. She fashioned tools from debris, created a cooling system for the Lumerian using condensation and the Chitauri's digging, and directed Makar's strength exactly where it was needed. When a drone attacked, she didn't flinch. She grabbed a broken pipe and used Makar as a springboard to disable it. By the time the instructors shut down the simulation and burst into the chamber, all 6 students were alive. Bruised, exhausted, but alive. Instructor Zephyros floated before them, his gaseous form cycling through colors too rapidly to interpret. That should have been impossible, he whispered. The statistical probability of your survival was irrelevant, Lena interrupted, helping the Lumerian to her feet. We're a team. Makar stared at the small human girl who had somehow turned a group of terrified aliens into a functioning unit. His people had a saying, the most dangerous predator is the one you don't see coming. Humans, he realized, were predators of a different kind. They didn't hunt with claws or teeth. They hunted with determination, cooperation, and an absolutely terrifying refusal to give up. They looked at impossible odds and simply ignored them. That night, as news of the incident spread through the academy, Instructor Zephyros updated his assessment of humanity in the galactic database. Where it had once read Class 7 Deathworlder, physically weak, environmentally adaptable, it now read Class 7 Deathworlder, pack predator. Extreme caution advised. In the dormitory, Makar found Lena studying for their next exam. You saved us today, he said. Lena looked up and grinned. We saved us. That's what teams do. Makar's tail swished thoughtfully. My people will want to hear about this. About humans. What will you tell them? That the most frightening thing in the galaxy isn't the predator cub who takes a seat beside you, Makar said slowly, his amber eyes gleaming with newfound respect. It's the human girl who offers friendship and expects nothing less than excellence in return. Lena laughed, the sound bright in the quiet room. Sounds about right.